All right, here we go. All right, shalom and welcome. Today we are going to go over whom shall I fear? What is fear all about? In today's world of fearing everything, it seems like we're afraid to breathe. We're afraid of everything because we are told to be afraid, right? We're programmed to be afraid. From the beginning, we have Yahweh. We was made in the image of Yahweh. Somewhere between that and this, we have found we are afraid of our own shadow, so to speak. Some people, they're afraid of their very breath. They're afraid of many things. What are we to be afraid of? Now, with every other thing, with everything we do, we should do what? Let the scripture tell us what we're to be afraid of. Should we fear men? Should we fear war? Should we fear the water? Should we fear, because man truly is afraid of many things, right? Afraid of snakes, spiders, dogs, cats, mice, weather, rain, lightning, and all these things. But what is the heart of that? I would submit to you that fear is your sin. That fear is what you have been taught. Allow scripture to reveal and teach us how religion and how those we trusted deceived us for thousands of years. As I live, declares the Master Yahweh, because my flock became a prey and my flock became food for every beast of the field, from not having a shepherd. What do we find here? Many people anymore, especially Torah, Hebrew roots, the way, whatever they want to call themselves, find themselves reading their Bible and saying, I can read my Bible. This is not the way of Yahweh. Not having a shepherd. That means you. If you're saying I can sit at home and read my Bible, I don't need assembly, I don't need a shepherd, then this is where you're going wrong. And my shepherds did not search for my flock. The shepherds are not searching for the flock. The shepherds are searching for likes. The shepherds are searching for YouTube views. They're searching for how many people can come into this building and pay me money. My shepherds did not search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves. You pay me tithes and offering, you buy me this, you buy me that, you feed me and we'll be fine. And did not feed my flock. Well, I'm going to have a church, but we're going to sing and dance for 2 hours, and I'll give you 15 minutes of little Chris talking about bicycles. Therefore, O shepherds, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus said the Master Yahweh, see, I am against the shepherds, and shall require my flock at their hand, and shall make them cease feeding the sheep, and the shepherds shall feed themselves no more. And I shall deliver my flock from their mouths, and they shall no longer be found for them. Isn't that amazing? If we look at today, what do we find? What do we find real quick when we look at today? Exactly what was just said there, right? That they closed the doors. The churches was cut off, basically. Most of them just folded like a lawn chair and said, hey, we don't got nothing to do with this. We're just going to do what we're told. Now, what should we fear? No matter what it is, no matter what the situation, we are to fear what? Yahweh. Now, what else? Where do we learn this from? What do we learn? What does the scripture say? How can we go with what's truly going on? We have to understand what is fear, what fear causes, and what we're to do about fear. Because again, with all the fears, all the anxiety, all the things that happen, and why does it matter? Because fear causes what? Death. Fear causes suicides. Fear causes anxiety. Fear causes heart attacks. Fear may cause a stroke. Fear may cause many things. Fear might cause you to do something totally stupid and hurt yourself or kill yourself. Correct? This is a sign of the covenant that I am giving between me and you and every living soul that is with you for the generations to come, indefinite. Right? Not to Abraham, not just to Isaac, not just to Jacob, not just to John, not just to Isaiah, everyone. And we know this because when it rains, what do we see? The rainbow. My rainbow I do give in the cloud, and it must serve as a sign of a covenant between me and the earth. So what do we see here? What do we see going on? He sets his covenants. He sets what he has for us there, but what are we doing about it? Are we going to go and listen to what the Creator says? Are we going to fear everything else? Because there's theories out there about the whole earth can flood. Oh, this area can flood. That area can flood. Who should we fear? Yahweh. He's the one who controls it all. And should we fear? The problem becomes like the rapture theory. We're afraid to walk, talk, do anything. What should we fear? It's more of a reverence, right? It's more of what we should be doing. Let's go on. Genesis 1:29. Then Elohim said, now I give every seed-bearing plant on the face of the entire earth and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. Every living creature of the earth and every bird of the sky will be terrified of you. Where did we disconnect? What happened? If we was made in the image of Yahweh, then everything underneath us should be afraid of us. Everything that we was in charge of should fear us. That's the way it works, right? Believe it or not. It's not really, but believe it or not. Everything we come in contact with should fear us. Everything. But we somehow have been sold out, sold down the river, and we're afraid of everything. Every living creature of the earth and every bird of the sky will be terrified of you. Everything that creeps on the ground and all the fish of the sea are under your authority. Thus said Yahweh. This isn't a man-made doctrine. This is what your scriptures say. But we're too worried about that because we grab verse 3 and talk about what we're eating and what we're doing with the food. Our belly becomes our God if we're not careful. We miss the whole what it's talking about because we're too worried about what we can eat, what we can't eat, what we're going to have, what we're going to do, and all the nonsense of it instead of what we're supposed to be doing. Let's go on. And Elohim blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, now listen, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. So fear is what? The H3372. If you want to look it up, you can get your strong coordinates out. You can go online. H3372. Yare. Y-A-R-E. Right? To frighten, to revere. If we look, the main thing what we have to do is in scripture, we have to know every time we see a word, it's not exactly what we think it is. When we see Genesis and we see the fear, we see what? We are to fear Yahweh. Why are we to fear Yahweh? Because he can bring the flood or he can cause the flood to stop. But what are we to fear? Nothing but our Creator. And even in that, in most cases, what he's saying is to revere me, to fear me, to respect me. Make sense? If we're not careful, we are doing what? We're taking man-made doctrines and turning them into fear. The rapture fear story, the you're going to hell story. It's all fear, is it not? We live, the churchianity itself lives on fear, hence why their doors closed. They're a fear doctrine. It's a fear religion. The rapture could happen tomorrow. I'm feared to death. Oh, hide me. Oh, you could die tomorrow. Oh, you're going to go to hell. Oh, the whole thing is set upon fear. And when you open your eyes and you read the verse and you understand what's going on, you go, oh, I ain't afraid of the rapture. I ain't afraid of this. I don't even see what happens. Do not be afraid. Fear is not of Yahweh. We have verse after verse after verse that says, do not fear. But yet, you go in the church and they're afraid to death. Now I'm afraid. Let me testify. Let me testify. I came up and people had masks on at Walmart. Oh, I'm afraid. And I know about the shot. Oh, I'm afraid. And afraid. From the time they get up, which we'll go over in a little bit, bear with me. From the time they get up, they are afraid. Do not be afraid. I am your shield and very great reward. What are we finding here? Do we find what's going on or do we find fear? We fear that, oh my goodness, I'm afraid of everything. And if we're not careful, this is what happens. Is it not? We are afraid because we don't know the Creator. That's why. That's why we're afraid. Do not be afraid. I am your shield. Your very great reward. Genesis 15:1. He's telling us not to be afraid, yet you go to church and your pastor says, oh, I can't believe it ain't happened yet. What ain't happened yet? The rapture. Because it's not in the scriptures. What you're saying is a fear doctrine. What you're saying is not really even biblical. But people grab on the fear. People love the fear, right? Then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him, what hast thou done unto us? What have I offended thee? That thou hast brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin. Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not be done. So where's the disconnect? What we see from the beginning, Yahweh made man. Man had nothing to fear. He was made in the image of Yahweh, correct? Adam didn't fear anything. Did he fear? Was there a battle between him and Hasatan? Do we ever see Hasatan ever even coming face to face with Adam? Ever? Well, that should tell us something right there. That should tell us that he was afraid to come to Adam face to face. He was afraid to go to battle. He was feared of Adam, obviously. But he obviously was jealous. He obviously was envious. He obviously wanted to take him down. And how did he do it? Through the wife, the lesser of the vessel, right? So what do we see here? Through time, men started not revering, not fearing Yahweh, and they started saying, I'm fearing man, as we see right here in Genesis. Abimelech called Abram and said unto him, what hast thou done unto us? It's meant to use the very exact thing today. What have you done unto us? What are we afraid of? What are we scared of? And I'm not just talking about what has just happened. I'm talking about cats walking in front of us. I'm talking about superstition, walking under ladders, breaking mirrors, all the things that we try to avoid. And some people try to avoid so bad that they will hurt themselves, right? Somebody sees a cat walk across the road and they'll drive off in the ditch not to cross that path because, oh, fear strikes their heart. It may sound lame, it may sound funny, but if you're that afraid and something's ever happened in conjunction with that, you might live your life differently, right? What hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not be done. But if we're not careful, we do these very exact same things, do we not? We're doing deeds that we shouldn't be doing. We are letting things happen that we shouldn't let happen. And Abraham said, because I thought, here we go. Here's the disconnect. Man went from what? Man went from talking with the Creator Yahweh to what? Started talking to the enemy. And when he started talking to the enemy, what happened? Oh, well, hey, how about we do this? How about we do this? How about we do this? What started happening? Man started having a relationship with the enemy, and the enemy started striking fear in man. And since man wasn't so much afraid of the enemy, who else could man be afraid of? Man. Women. How many people are afraid of the wife? How many people are afraid of their husband? Oh, if I don't do this, he'll slap me in the face. If I don't do this, that's not love. If I don't do this, she won't do this. That's not love. Love is what? Forbearing, caring. Love does it without asking. You don't have to keep asking. You know, I want some water, so give me a glass of water before I ask. That's love. But our church system, our religious system, or if mama ain't happy, nobody happy. It's upside down. And Abraham said, because I thought, surely the fear of Elohim is not in this place, they will slay me for my wife's sake. Uh-oh, right here, what do we see? He's thinking, he's worried about his life. He's worried about and fearing what he shouldn't fear, right? So if we're not real careful, the fear started becoming, I'm fearing man. But what did he also say? That he thought that Elohim is not in this place. He just took it upon himself, like many people do, that, oh, well, this ain't a part of the program. This ain't my Christianity way. This ain't what I believe. This ain't what I think should be happening. This isn't my witness program. So what happens? We start taking it upon ourselves to think, even though Yahweh says what? Think not. He tells us for certain things, think not. But yet we go and want to think about it and how it's supposed to be done and how we are supposed to do this. And then we start thinking, well, how do we figure this one out? And how do we do this? And except, here we go, Genesis 31:42. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hast sent me away now empty. Right? Elohim has sent mine affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked thee yesterday night. Most people would not be where they are if it wasn't for the favor of Yahweh. Most people would not be doing the things that they are doing if it wasn't for the favor and the mercy and the grace of Yahweh. So when you walk into somewhere and you can walk out, it's not particularly because it was you, right? A lot of these fighters, a lot of these people, a lot of Hollywood thinks it's because of this. Well, it's because of me. It's because of my name. It's because of this. No, he's trying to get you to do the same thing from the beginning. From the beginning, Yahweh, as we see, says revere him, fear him, not anyone else, fear him. Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me. Surely you had sent me away now empty. If you go to somebody and they see that you are afraid of Yahweh, which means what? You're humble. You're not arrogant. You're not boisterous. You're not the hot dog of the crew. Hey, everybody, I'm here. It's me. Here I am. Look at me. With that attitude, most people turn you away. But when you come in the name of Yahweh, when you come preaching, teaching, talking about Yahweh, or if nothing else, humbly coming before men, you're usually accepted. It's the arrogant, nasty, I don't fear anything, everything, right, is where we lose many, many, many battles. Because we're not doing it correctly. We're not doing it the way it's supposed to be. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of issue. For I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. Genesis 32:11. How is it, again, we came from being made in the image of Yahweh to fearing man? Right here, we start seeing the transition of we're fearing men. We're fearing our actions. We're fearing what we did. We're fearing what we brought upon ourselves instead of the Creator. Correct? You see where this goes? When she was in severe labor, the midwife said to her, do not fear, for now you have another son. I'm afraid to have a baby. I'm afraid. You see where the transition has come from? Do you see what's going on? People are afraid to have a baby. They're afraid. The doctor said this. The doctor said that. This test says this. Oh, well, I'm afraid because of someone told me that it's painful. I'm afraid because of, and on and on and on the fear factor goes. Well, I don't know. The doctor said if I had this kid, I'm so young. The doctor said if I had this kid, I'm so old. If you're praying and doing the right thing and living righteously, who do you fear? Yahweh. When she was in severe labor, the midwife said to her, do not fear, for now you have another son. But you see what's happening, right? You see what's going on. We're slowly but surely transitioning into we're afraid of daily life. And Joseph said to them the third day, this do and live, for I fear Yahweh. Genesis 42:18. You know, it's almost amazing how we transition in Genesis and Exodus to what we're afraid of. Instead of fearing Yahweh, how far have we gone to we're afraid of man? Now, what do we see? When we start fearing men, what happens when we start fearing men? We start getting ourselves in severe problems. Those among the servants of Pharaoh who feared the word of the Lord made his servants and his livestock flee into the houses. Exodus 9:20. Right here we see right here we see what happens when we fear everything. Because what happened here? What happened? We were supposed to live in peace. We were supposed to fear Yahweh and Yahweh only. We were supposed to take care of each other. We were supposed to love each other. We were supposed to keep the commandments. We were supposed to do many things. But because we didn't do them, where did we end up? Under Pharaoh, under slavery, under what we was never intended to do. Whose fault was it? Man's fault. Yahweh, being the sovereign that he is, the grace and mercy that he possesses for man, what did he do? Because men cried out, because they prayed, because they asked for deliverance, what did he do? He delivered them. Fear you not, stand still and see the salvation of Yahweh. Exodus 14:13. Salvation is also Yeshua. Yeshua is also what? Word. What do we see repeatedly? The same thing. Man did wrong. He feared everything. He started fearing other men. He started fearing everything. And then what happened? He got his just desserts, if you will. He got what was coming to him. Right? He got exactly what was coming to him. He got what he feared. Make sense? Man feared of men, so men took over and became Pharaoh to him. Because why? Because he kind of wanted it that way. I'm afraid if I do it this way, if I'm afraid and do it this way, then I don't know what to do. So if somebody else is up here, if somebody else will do this, if somebody else will take over, if somebody else will do this, living out of fear. Fear and dread shall fall on them by the greatness of your arm. They shall be as still as a stone till your people pass over, O Yahweh. Exodus 15 and 16. Does that not sound exactly like today? Fear and dread shall fall on them. By the greatness of your arm, they shall be as still as a stone till your people pass over, O Yahweh. What are we to do? What are we to fear? How did fear come upon us? How do we get rid of fear? What is fear about? If we're not careful, fear drives us into slavery of men. Fear drives us into doing things we should not ought to do. Fear drives us out of things that we was never supposed to be a part of. We see here clearly what we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to be afraid of animals, which leads us to another whole different conspiracy theory of what? Hybrid animals, hybrid dogs, hybrid this, hybrid chickens, hybrid everything. If we are not supposed to be afraid of them and they naturally are afraid of us, something has to be given to them, their DNA, something has to be changed for them to not fear us, correct? But select capable men from all the people, men who fear Yahweh, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Exodus 18:21. Sadly, I submit to you today that you people, the mainstream, does not want this. Right? You ever go to church and they say, boy, I can't wait for the preaching. Everybody's there baiting pans and pots and spoons and saying, bring on the preaching. No, me neither. You go to assembly church, doesn't matter hardly where you go, very few. There's usually maybe one or two that are there to hear preaching, to hear truth. What are they there for? Dancing, singing. I want to dance like David danced. I want to do like this and that. I want to do the whatever. What's the latest song? What's the this? And they're like children. They're babies. Spiritually, they're infants. But select capable men from all the people, men who fear Yahweh, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. But we sadly don't even want that today. Right? Your churches don't have this. Oh, of course, my pastor, my rabbi, wrong answer. Trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain. Right there. Well, let's take up an offering. Well, let's pay for this. Let's pay for that. Let's call me rabbi. Let's do this. Let's do that. Right there, you're disqualified. In one verse, you just got disqualified. Why? Because the scripture says, oh, you know what it really says? Yeah, I know what it really says. I can read it. It says, call no man rabbi. It says, don't be taking up offerings and playing with money. Don't be doing these things. That's what it says. And Moshe said unto the people, fear not, for Elohim has come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that you sin not. Why do we not sin? Because we fear Yahweh. We respect Yahweh. We revere Yahweh. Why do you do what your father tells you to do? Because you respect him, right? Why do you do what daddy tells you to do? Is it out of you don't want a whipping? If it is, then you still have a rebellious heart, right? But as children, we have to learn Well, I have to not do it before the punishment. That's what we're seeing. Our punishment is we go into under pharaohs, we go under problems, we have plagues, we have all kinds of things if we don't just simply listen to the Father. When we fear and we let that take over, as we see in today's world, people are afraid of almost everything, right? Maybe we can conduct a study. Maybe you can do it. Ask people, what are you afraid of? What's your biggest fear right now today? And you would probably get a list. But what should it be? What should the reply be? I fear Yahweh and Yahweh alone. Right? But no, we get everything else. We get everything but that. Oh, I'm afraid that the rapture is going to happen. I'm afraid that this is going to happen. I'm afraid that that's going to happen. I'm afraid. People are afraid to go outside. People are afraid to go inside. People are afraid to stay at home. They're afraid somebody's going to break in. They're afraid all the day long. I will send my fear before you. I will cause confusion. What? I will send my fear before you. I will cause confusion among all the people to whom you come, and make your enemies turn their backs to you. Who are we worried about? What are we worried about? If we have Yahweh on our side, what's our fear? Even in death, we're going home. Even in death, we're doing what? You see the problem here, folks? What we're worried about is what the world says. What we're worried about is what everything that man has put before us. And if we're not careful, we become a Pharaoh-loving society because we like it that way. We don't want to hear truth. We don't want to hear what he said. We don't want to hear the way the scripture says because, well, if we have to live that way, man, I just don't know. Can I have it another way? So the disconnect between the beginning to now is the same. We want it our way. We want to build a golden calf. We want to have a Pharaoh. We want to have a king. We want to have. And within doing all this, we forget to fear our Creator. Every one of you shall reverence his mother and his father, and you shall keep my Sabbaths. I'm Yahweh, your Elohim. Sadly, it's so simple we can do it. Religion tells you, no, you can't. Religion says, no, nobody can keep that. Right? Religion says, oh, no, nobody can keep the law. What are you talking about? Yahweh says, every one of you shall reverence his mother and his father, and you shall keep my Sabbath. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Reference. Right? Why are we doing this? Because they're supposed to be teaching us. They're supposed to be telling us. They're supposed to be giving us truth. But what happens in today's world? What do we get taught in today's world? Shoot everybody with a Tito straw. Let's make fun of everybody. Your parents are dumb. Your parents are not smart as I am. I can Google it and I'm, oh. What do we get? Do not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block in front of the blind, but fear your Elohim. I am Yahweh. This doesn't sound like the world we live in, does it? We have so removed ourselves from what Yahweh expects of us, and he tells us clearly, do not curse the deaf, but we have movies making fun of deaf people. We have movies making fun of people with mental problems. We have movies of all kinds of disrespectful, harmful, hurtful ways. Because if you was at Murray Center and watched that, you might be upset, right? If you was at one of these places and you fell off your motorcycle, but you still knew life was life, and you heard these people making fun, probably wouldn't be funny to you, would it? If you was once a working class citizen, fell off, had a motorcycle accident, and you still comprehend what you used to be, probably wouldn't be near as funny, right? So what we have become is a terrible, disrespectful people that we don't even do what the scripture says. And we come to a point where old people or older people are just kind of in the way, right? They don't know as much as Google. We don't learn from them. We don't get much from them. So just move. But why did that happen? Because they never taught us fear. They told us lies. They've handed us down lies, just like it says. We've been handed down lies from our fathers, so the respect is not there because we know they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But that still does not give us the right to throw them in the old folks' home, throw away the key, and never talk to them again. Rise up in the presence of the age. Show respect for the elderly and revere your Elohim. I am Yahweh. Leviticus 19:32. You can say what you want. You can say what you will. But the way we have done this, the way it's been done, the way we have treated people, throwing them in boxes of glass cages and glass jails and treating them like they're some kind of a lab rat is wrong. Rise in the presence of the aged. We can all go to YouTube and we can see people don't get up anymore. They don't get up on buses. They don't get up on trains. They don't get up. It says rise in the presence of the aged. Show respect for the elderly and remove and revere, which is fear, revere, right? Yahweh. I am Yahweh. Leviticus 19:32. These are commands. These are in Torah. That what do we do? And it doesn't matter even if they did wrong. When you come up to someone, you are to what? When you go through the store, it might be aggravating, but you don't brush by them. You don't bump into them. You could, and some people do. You can run them over. They're old. Well, you can shove them out of your way. But why have we come to the part of why it's so blocked off anyway? It makes no sense, really, when you get to the whole theories of it all, which we won't. But it makes no sense that we're bottlenecked and getting in and out of stores so bad when the whole point's supposed to be free. 6 feet, 3 feet, bunch of space, and yet we're cut down in the space. Seems like somebody ought to do a little more thinking on that theory, but that's for whatever, right? Let's go on. Remember, respect them. To do what? What do we do with sinners? What do we do with other people? You know, the Christianity and religion tells you they're all going to hell, so just shove them out of the way, them poor dumb sinners. That's not what Yahweh says. Yahweh says go and compel them. How you compel someone to do anything when you're shoving them out of the way and calling them names and looking down on them from your up nose. Therefore you shall not oppress one another, but you shall fear your Elohim, for I am Yahweh your Elohim. What do we see here? If we're not careful, what we see is, okay, I'm on an island and I see a boat. I'm grabbing that boat and I'm leaving. See you later. Right? Here's one car and I'm jumping in it and I'm leaving. We see it in movies. It's programmed into us that take care of self, put self first. Some people even tell and teach that. Take care of you first. Once you get care of you, then you can help somebody else. But the scripture says what? Put yourself last. If anybody's getting in the boat, make sure the women and children, make sure the elderly, make sure they're in the boat. If you have to stand there and wave by, stand there and wave by. But oh, no, not in today's world. not with Google search. I'm going to Google search it, and I'm going to see who's going to live the longest, who's going to be predicted to get the best outcome, and that's who we're putting in the boat. Shameful. Take thou no ussury of him or increase, but fear Yahweh, that thy brother may live with thee. Take no money of him. Don't take anything from him, but again and again and again, fill these buckets. Fill these money trays. Ching, ching, ching. Feel guilty. You better feel guilty. We got to pay the bills around here. You shall not rule over him with severity, but are to revere your Elohim. Revere Yahweh. But yet we hear case after case, bosses, pastors, priests, doing things they shouldn't do, saying things they shouldn't do, getting to the pulpits and saying things like, oh, well, if you don't like that, you don't let the door hit you in the backside. Really now? And the people still sit there. They don't rebuke him. They don't say nothing. They giggle and laugh like little school children. Should not be done. Only rebel not against Yahweh. Neither fear you the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and Yahweh is with us. Fear them not. Oh, but we're just such afraid of everything that's going on in the world. We don't know what's going on, but we're afraid of everything. What for? We're to live in peace. We're not worried about what the world's doing. We're not worried about what's happening to them. And if we're worried about it now, when Revelations happens, what are you going to do then? I said, when Revelations happens, what you going to do then? You're going to lose your mind. When they get stung by these scorpions and these things and the hell and the fire and the wrath that's poured out, are you going to be worried about them then too? See, the problem becomes we don't see clearly because we're not taught clearly. We're taught 2 and 2 is 4, and 2 and 3 and 6 and 5 and 8, all letters is 21, no matter how X, Y, and Z you put it. But in reality, we fear Yahweh and nothing else. Because when we fear Yahweh and nothing else, what are we worried about? We don't get in a stressful life that our big toe is red. Oh my gosh, what is it? What is wrong with my big toe? Is it an infection? Is it a blood clot? Is it diabetes? Is it this? And the list goes on because you stubbed your toe and you didn't remember it, but you see a red mark on it, and oh my gosh. And now we go to the doctor, and the doctor gives you a pill, and the doctor tells you now you need another pill. And before you know it, a year later, you got 10 pills to take. And you just stubbed your toe. But all the pills has made such a problem that what? Only rebel not against Yahweh. Neither fear you the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and Yahweh is with us. Fear them not. We ain't to fear this world or what it's doing or what they say. Right? Bring it. What you got? What are you going to do? What are you going to do against the Creator? Nothing. And if you are truly made in the image of the Creator, then why would you want anything else to be put upon you or put in you? You're making it worse. Would you go inject your car with nanobites? Would you give your car a virus? Would you give your car something that you don't know what it would do to it? No, you want to give it more horsepower. You want to give it something better. You don't want to introduce a terrible problem to it. Yahweh said to Moshe, do not be afraid of him, for I have delivered him to your hands, along with his whole army and his land. Many people, many of us are defeated because we don't take the word for what it says. We're worried about what the world's worried about, right? We are. We get, if we're not careful, we go right into the world's lane. How many likes did I have today? How many people like me on Facebook? How many friends do I have on Facebook? How many people patted me back on Facebook? Oh, YouTube says I'm great. Oh, YouTube sent me a word. Oh, before we know it, we're living our life in the worldly fashion because we are pleasing people, right? We forgot to fear Yahweh, and fearing reverence Yahweh is a totally different thing than fearing what? Oh, goodness. Nobody liked that video. Man, maybe I should make another video. We got videos of videos on how to make videos. Does that make sense? Hi, welcome to whatever. We're pros at this. And today we're going to go over how many likes you can get if you do it my way. And we're going to get how many likes you can do it. Hey, tell me what to say. You know what? Send me something. I'll review it. Send me a camera. I'll look at it. Send me a pen. I'll talk about it. And we become sold out. Used to, people said, oh, you sold out. This one sold out. That one sold out. Anymore, hey, send me something. I'll talk about it. Got a paper clip? Got a coffee cup? Hey, let's talk about it. Do not be afraid of them, for I have delivered them into your hands along with his whole army and his land. People say it, but they don't live it. Oh, in the end, we win. But right now, I'm afraid. Makes sense? Not really, does it? Behold, Yahweh thy Elohim has sent the land before thee. Go up and possess it, as Yahweh Elohim of thy fathers has said unto thee. Fear not, neither be discouraged. What do we do? What do we do? We're afraid. We're afraid of this. We're afraid of that. We see what happens over and over and over again. But Yahweh says, don't worry about it. And what happened from the beginning to the ending again? What was supposed to happen here? People were supposed to go take the land. It was not a suggestion. These are not suggestions, right? These are not, hey, when you feel like it, when you get around to it, you know, when you've prayed enough about it, you don't have to fear the cancer no more. Well, when you've prayed enough and fasted enough, and you really think that your doctor's told you're okay, now you don't have to fear it no more because the doctor says you're all clear. Right? This is the way we live. Just be honest. But Yahweh says, do not fear these things. Do not do these things. But we do the exact same thing. They go up and they spy out the land and they say, oh, but they're giants. We're grasshoppers in their eyes. Oh, and that's exactly what we do in life, is it not? Oh, I've come to the cancer thing. Oh, I've come to the problematic thing. Oh, I've come to the this thing and the that thing. And what do? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Look at it. It's SARS and the pig flu, the swine flu, this flu, that flu, everything flu. Oh. And what are we afraid of? Even in death, he says, do not fear. You know where you're going, but we're afraid to die. But yet he says, if you fear for your life, if you're worried about your life, you're going to lose it. The very thing he says, don't do. How many people do? I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. This day I shall begin to place dread and fear on the peoples under the entire heaven when they hear of your reputation, and they will tremble and be anxious before you. Deuteronomy 2:25, the Torah. The world is supposed to be fearing us. How can we be defeated? How can we be set down? How can we lose the power? Right here. It's on your money, is it not? In God I trust. Which one then? It's amazing. We go to places and it says right on there, in God I trust. But then we let people tell us what we can and can't do with the very thing, with where we're at, how we're going. Why is it? If we're not careful, what happens? We let fear take over through anything. It doesn't matter what it's called, what the name of it is, or what it's stamped as, or who says what about it. The first thing we should do, if it's really a thing, if it's really something, what should we do? Present to the Creator and say, Yahweh, protect me. Yahweh, lead me, guide me. If He's leading you, guiding you, and directing you, you don't need Home Depot or Nards or everybody else telling you how to do what, do you? Do you need someone to tell you how to live your life? This is the problem. It's we have let everything else come in, and if we're not very careful, we're going to let a pharaoh take over and do what pharaohs do. You will now make bricks with no straw. You will now make this without this. You now do what I say and deal with it. And because of our fearing ways, that's what happens. And Yahweh said unto me, Fear him not, for I will deliver him and all his people and his land into thy hand, and thou shalt do unto him as thou didst Shilon, king of the Amorites, which dwelt at Heshbon. What are we afraid of, folks? Are we afraid of the Creator? Are we afraid of what's going on in the world? And again, the whole disconnect, the whole point is not really focusing on the world. It's focusing on Yahweh. Get rid of the fear. Like one of them old songs, brush it off your shoulders. Stop letting fear control your life. Because when fear controls your life, you become depressed, anxiety. You have all kinds of problems that you was never intended to have. We was never intended the way we live today. No way, no how was we ever intended to live the lives we live. We wake up and we turn on something and oh my gosh, somebody got shot. Oh my gosh, somebody got stabbed. Oh my gosh, somebody got this. Oh my gosh, somebody got a tummy ache. Oh my gosh. Watch your food. Watch your this. Watch your that. And for 2 hours until you go to your job that you can't stand either, you hear negative, 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 fear, 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 fear. But this should be like that show from MTV, right? Fear is not a factor for you, sir. No, ma'am, you are not a part of the fear factor. Fear has nothing to do with you because you believe in Yahweh. You must not fear them, for Yahweh, your Elohim himself, fights for you. They only have, what was that thing? Well, the president said it, right? It's in songs. It's the only thing we have to fear from fear is fear itself. Which is a great statement, is it not? Biblical statement. You must not fear them, for Yahweh, your Elohim, fights for you. If he's fighting for you, what are we afraid of? Again, we have taken the road of least resistance. A lot of people take the road of the fear factor, and down that road, we run into we're afraid. We're afraid. We're afraid, and we do everything to get away from the fear, but sadly, we're getting deeper in the clutches of fear. Because just like everything else, if we're not careful, we don't come out of it. It becomes a deeper and deeper and deeper hole, and we don't know what to do. And we're so far stuck in depression. We're so stuck in the pills and the Prozacs and the pharmacia that we don't know what to do about it. And we go to the doctors and the counselors and the lawyers, and they don't know. They just tell us something that makes our feelings feel better. Doctor, what do you think? I don't know. I don't see an expiration stamp on your foot. I don't know what to tell you, but I will tell you, if you keep living this life, you're probably going to die. If you don't take it serious, you're probably not going to be all right. Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to play around some more. Remember the day you stood before Yahweh, your Elohim, in Horeb, when Yahweh said to me, assemble the people to me, that I may let them hear my words, so they may learn to fear me all the days they live on the earth, and that they may teach their children. Over and over and over and over, we hear this same story, these same verses. Fear Yahweh and teach your children about me. Teach your children to fear me. Teach them. You fear me and you teach them to fear me. That's all we have to worry about. But what do? Now, little children, when you cross the street, oh my gosh, and a 30-minute lecture on how to cross the street. When it's as simple as look that way, look that way. You see anything, then cross it. But there might be a train. No, there's never going to be a train coming down that road, ever. It's not a train track. There's not a train within 2 miles. It couldn't possibly happen. But just in case, I'm so afraid for you. There may be a train one day. You may have to parachute out of here. And we come up with some of the awfulest things because we haven't done what is right. And again, we don't treat the elders because the elders didn't tell us nothing but lies. So we start throwing junk on them, and we start doing stuff, and before we know it, everybody's terrible. And we're not careful. Religion itself teaches us, if you're not a Catholic, if you're not a Baptist, if you're not a Pentecostal, if you're not apologetic, if you don't go to Joel Osteen, if you don't know John Hagee, if you ain't a part of the Michael Rood crew, if we're not careful, we isolate ourselves and we put ourselves in a place we should not be. And nothing gets anybody, no one gets anything out of it because we're stuck in fear. And people see that. You walk around lately and you see who's afraid. You can see in their eyes. You can see who's happy, who really don't care. Right? And it's sad that what we have become, it's sad that what we have seen, it's sad that the warriors, the Creator, and what he said to do, people have just kind of thrown it to the side. But it's not today. It's not last year. It's from the beginning, from the starting, the verses we went over, really into Genesis. Why was the flood? Because people forgot to fear Yahweh. Remember the day you stood before Yahweh, your Elohim, at Horeb, when Yahweh said to me, assemble the people to me that I may let them hear my words. Can you imagine sitting there listening to the Creator telling you what to do and what not to do? Like they had to hear. So they may learn to fear me all the days they live on the earth, and that they may teach their children. From that point on forward was supposed to be they teach. Exactly what he said. Now we're trying to figure out what he said because they didn't do their job. Where's the rest of the Apocrypha? Where's the rest of Maccabees? Where's Enoch? Where's the rest of Enoch? Where's the Maccabees 2? Where's Maccabees 3? Where's Jasher? Do these fit? Do they not fit? What do we do? And most people, I can read my Bible for myself. After he says, teach them, have shepherds, listen to them. Which all comes down to, again, right here. Oh, that were such an heart in them, that they would fear me, and keep my commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Could you imagine the sad, to me, this is one of the saddest verses just right up there with Yeshua wept. It fits hand and glove together. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. If you would have listened to me, basically paraphrasing, if you would have accepted me, if you would have just listened to what I had to say to you, how I would have took care of you, how I would have brought you under my arms, how I would have brought you into me, how it could have been such a great, beautiful thing. Wouldn't you feel the same? Your family's out there falling off in the lava. And you're saying, don't do that. Don't fall off. Don't jump in that. Don't do that. Oh, but it looks so glowing at night. I can't wait to jump in. Everybody else is swimming in it. Oh, please don't do that. Oh, I have to. Oh, that it were such an heart in them that they would fear me. If we would just fear Yahweh, what do we got to worry about? And keep all my commandments. He doesn't say 3, 10, 7, 5, what your daddy said, what your mama said, what the Catholic said, what the Baptist said. All my commandments. It's amazing. We bicker and fight and complain. Headgear, not headgear. Beard, this, that, this, that, this, that. And we really just want to live the life we want to live. We want to find the verse and the people. And if Zach agrees with me, then we're great. If Paul agrees with me, that's my new guy. If, oh boy, Michael Rood, oh man, we want to find somebody we can sit behind and say, that's what I learned from. But ultimately, I don't really agree with him either. So I just read my own Bible. But even in the commandments and what it says to do, yeah, well, I kind of know, everybody can't. And we go right back to the religion. Nobody can keep the commandments. What? I thought you was a Torah keeper. Yeah, but nobody can keep the feast days, what people say, right? Nobody can really do it all. Nobody can really, when all of it really hinges on what? Love and fearing, referencing Yahweh. If you really love me, keep my commandments. If you really love me, you'll do what I say, right? I don't have to get up a club and beat you with it or nothing. If you really love me, I say, hey, can you go get me coffee? And the next thing, before I know it, there's coffee in my hand. Hey, if you really love me, go start my car. When we start making a grievous, when we start murmuring and complaining, when we start letting the enemy come in, then we are separating. And I would submit to you that's what has happened from the beginning to now. And the separation keeps getting greater and greater and greater and greater because, oh man, keeping the Sabbath day. Oh man, keeping the feast days. Oh man, not eating chicken. Oh man, not eating pork. Oh man, I love me some bacon. Well, just remember that when you're standing on Judgment Day. I'm sure there's not too many people going to say that they love bacon, right? When they're being judged, I hope they're not going to say, well, I just love bacon more than my eternity. I mean, that's what you're essentially saying, or you're not. That if next time you do something and you're murmuring, complaining, and whining about it, just say, well, I think I love this more than eternity. This must be more important to me than, right? Because that's what we're really doing. Oh, we're worried about this, that, and whatever's coming down the pike. And there's always going to be something, right? There's always going to be something. When you turn on the TV, there's going to be something. Why? Because if there's not, there's no TV program, right? What's the news if there's no news? They have to pipe something. And if you're not careful, what sells? We all know what sells. And what sells and what keeps going and what keeps people coming back, what keeps people doing things? Fear. You go to the doctor, all's well. Well, I ain't going to go see the doctor 5 years. You go to the doctor, something's wrong. Oh, what is it? What's wrong? And you didn't feel bad, but all of a sudden you got something. You didn't feel bad at all. You just came for the checkup. Matter of fact, you just came because you had to come because of the Job sent you in because it's that age, because of whatever. And now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're sick. Didn't feel sick, didn't look sick, didn't feel bad, didn't look bad, but now you are. Imagine that. Who do we fear? What are we fearing? What are we doing? If we're not careful, we're fearing everything but what we should fear. We're afraid of everything but whom we should fear. Oh, that it were such a heart on them that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Deuteronomy 5:29. Folks, we need to fear Yahweh and Yahweh alone. We need to adhere to the words of what he says to do. We need to listen to what he says. We need to go with the scriptures and exactly what the scriptures say to do. If not, all we're doing is what? Feeding the enemy and letting the enemy tell us what we're afraid of. We're letting the enemy tell us what we will fear. We're letting the enemy tell us of what fear is. We're letting the enemy tell us of all these different things instead of what we should be fearing. So until next time, may Yahweh bless you. May his countenance shine upon you. And may he grant you shalom. Shalom, everybody. Thank you very much for listening and for watching. If you have any questions, comments, by all means, let us know. Let me know. We will get back with you. But we have to fear Yahweh and put Yahweh first and his scriptures and seek. We seek a counselor, right? We have a problem in life. Oh, go talk to your counselor. Go talk to your preacher. Go find somebody. But it's amazing we don't want to seek authority when we need it. What would help more at that point in time is when we can seek the authority and find someone who can tell us we don't fear this, we fear Yahweh. Right? If we're not careful, we're just doing it the way we want to do it. So fear Yahweh, trust in Yahweh, and believe in Yahweh. So until next time, Yahweh bless you and shalom, everybody. Shalom and Yahweh's blessings.